What do you do when someone influential, someone like Charlie Kirk, who spoke boldly about faith, truth, and culture, is suddenly gone? Where do we go from here? How do we move forward? In today's episode of Be the 25, we're answering those questions and looking at 4 practical steps we can take to keep moving onward with faith and courage. So let's jump right in and talk about what's next for you, for me, and for all of us in such a time as this. It all starts in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Be the 25 podcast, the place where teens and young adults come to explore how to live the Christian life in a non-Christian world. I'm your host, Dr. Sharon O'Hara. Come join us and get your faith ready for the journey ahead. Well, welcome back, everyone, to Be the 25, the award-winning podcast where we help Christian teens and young adults keep growing and keep going in their faith journeys. You know, today's episode comes at a moment when it feels like the world has been shaken and many are searching for direction. It's a moment that calls us all to pause, to reflect, and decide what to do next. On September 10th, Charlie Kirk, the founder of Turning Point USA, the conservative activist, the speaker, the Christian influencer, was fatally shot during a public event at Utah Valley University. Charlie was just 31 years old, and this tragedy has left the entire world stunned. It's been all over the news, all over social media, and all over dinner table conversations as people try to make sense of it. Our deepest condolences and prayers go out to his family and friends. Charlie was widely known for his Q&A sessions on college campuses, boldly answering questions, sharing his Christian beliefs, and engaging directly with people about faith, culture, and the truth. You'd often see clips of those moments on TikTok, YouTube, and other social media platforms, sparking meaningful conversations and debates. Now, Charlie wasn't perfect, and his methods weren't perfect either. But I think we all can agree that he was bold and wasn't afraid to speak the truth, even if it cost him. And it certainly did. And whether you admired him, challenged him, or felt conflicted about his work, his sudden death leaves us all asking the big question: where do we go from here? And it's a good question to ask because while he's gone, we still have to move forward. So how do we move forward? Where do we go from here? Well, here are 4 practical steps we can take following Charlie's own example. First one is this: know what you believe and why. You know, it's crazy how many people really don't know what they believe or why they believe it. I hear it all the time, people just repeating back what they heard from someone else. If you really don't understand what you believe and why you personally believe it, it's easy to be swayed by whatever culture or peers tell you is right. And let's be honest, sometimes they could be dead wrong. You have to think for yourself. And even then, you have to be careful because you could be dead wrong too. And that's why we need a source of truth that never changes, something that we can truly rely on. And that source is the Bible. And through it, we can develop a biblical worldview. A biblical worldview is seeing the world through God's eyes, understanding life, people, right and wrong, and purpose from His perspective instead of the ever-changing culture. It means using the Bible as your ultimate guide for truth, not opinions, not social media trends, or what everyone else thinks. A biblical worldview lights the way. Psalm 119:105 says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." Charlie Kirk lived his life from a biblical worldview. He didn't just keep his faith private, he integrated it into everything he did, from speaking and teaching to activism and politics and even his home life. His example challenges us to do the same in our own lives. Charlie's life and his legacy show us the power and impact of living with a biblical worldview. But here's the reality. According to Barna Research, only 4% of Gen Z and only 6% of millennials have a biblical worldview. That means most young people, even those who go to church, can't explain basic biblical truths. If you don't know what the Bible teaches, culture will tell you what to believe, and culture changes constantly, sometimes every 5 minutes. God's word, however, never changes. Matthew 24:35 reminds us, "Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away." So, knowing God's truth and knowing it well is key to developing a biblical worldview. You start by going to a Bible-believing church, one that teaches the Bible, not on how to be a better whatever. You read and study God's Word daily. You join a small Bible study group, one that actually dives into a book of the Bible, a place to share your thoughts, ask questions, and process what you're learning. You keep a notebook and write down your questions or insights or verses that stand out to you. And you take something you learned and put it into practice in your everyday life. Yes, this takes an intentional effort on your part, but over time, you will see your faith grow, your understanding deepen, and your life reflecting God's truth in practical ways. This is how you start developing a biblical worldview. Charlie Kirk didn't develop a biblical worldview in one day. It took time, it took dedication, and it took consistent effort. Because he knew God's word well and lived it out well, he could stand firm and speak boldly about his faith, just as 1 Peter 3:15 says, "Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have." But you have to know what you believe and why in order to do that. Now, the second thing is this: know what others believe and why they believe it. Engaging the world as a Christian isn't just about defending our faith. It's about understanding others too. If you truly want to influence others, or even just have meaningful conversations with them, it's important to understand where they're coming from. Knowing what others believe and why helps you relate to them and respond in ways that actually connect. It shows respect, it shows love, and it opens doors for real conversations to happen. Charlie Kirk lived this out well. He didn't just share his beliefs, he took the time to understand what others believed and why. That understanding allowed him to respond in ways that were challenging, encouraging, and relevant. His approach shows us that influence isn't just about talking louder. It's about knowing the people you're speaking to and meeting them where they are. Now, how do you do this in a practical way? Well, pay attention to the ideas, values, and priorities of other people. Know what they believe and why. Read articles, watch videos, and explore topics that shape their worldview. Study different worldviews, religions, and philosophies. Ask questions like, "Why do you believe that?" Or "What made you think that's true?" Not to debate, but to understand. When you get where people are coming from, you can then speak the truth in love, just as Ephesians 4:15 instructs us to. Your goal isn't to win arguments, it's to help people see God's truth. So when you understand where people are coming from, you position yourself to engage with them more wisely, more confidently, and more compassionately, just like Charlie Kirk did. Now, the third step, know how to listen. What made Charlie stand out was that he didn't just talk, he listened. He paid attention to what people were really asking. He got them to think deeply about their beliefs, and he responded in ways that challenged and encouraged them. His ability to listen helped him connect with students on a personal level, even when they disagreed. This is exactly what Charlie Kirk was known for, and why people respected him. Listening shows people that you care and helps you understand where they're coming from. James 1:19 says everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. But many times people do just the opposite. They're slow to listen, quick to speak, and quick to become angry. But when you really listen, you're paying attention to what the other person believes, why they believe it, and what experiences shaped those beliefs. This helps you avoid misunderstandings and makes your conversations more about connecting, not winning. Now, here's a practical tip. In conversations, whether online or in person, try to repeat back what the other person said in your own words before responding. This shows you understand and gives them a chance to clarify. And also ask open-ended questions like, what makes you think that? Or, can you tell me more about why you feel that way? This encourages them to share honestly, and it keeps the conversation meaningful. Charlie Kirk's approach shows us that listening isn't a weakness. It's a tool for understanding and building trust. Now, here's the last step. Know how to stand up for your faith. It's not just about showing up. It's about standing up. Jesus said in Matthew 5:14-16, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others so they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Jesus is calling us to let our light shine. He calls us to be bold in living out our faith. Here's the deal. God has given each of us a unique role to play in this world. You can make a huge difference right where you are in the sphere of influence God has placed you. Just take a look at Charlie's life. He didn't just attend events, record a podcast, or speak on college campuses. He stood up for what he believed. He used his platform to share his faith, to defend biblical truth, and challenge culture, even when it wasn't popular. Charlie's example reminds us that standing up really matters. If he hadn't stood for truth, his influence wouldn't have reached many people. Well, what does this mean for you? It means you can stand firm in your faith too. You can carry the truth forward to others who need to hear it. And you can be courageous, living boldly for God no matter the cost. Standing up doesn't always mean making a big speech or debating in a formal debate. It could mean speaking the truth respectfully to someone. It could mean defending a friend who's being bullied, left out, or treated unfairly. It could mean refusing to post or share content that goes against your values. It can mean standing up for what's right in your sports team, club, or group, even if everyone else disagrees. It could mean sharing your beliefs or values with a coworker, a classmate, or new student. It could mean volunteering to help in your community, church, or school, taking action instead of waiting for someone else to do it. It could mean speaking out on political or social issues in a way that honors God, like advocating for fairness, justice, or protecting life, even if it's not popular. Every decision to stand up for God's truth helps your light shine brighter in this world. When you consistently stand up for what you believe, when you stand up for the truth, you inspire others to do the same. Charlie Kirk emphasized the importance of standing firm in your Christian beliefs and standing up for them even in the face of opposition. He consistently spoke about the need to courageously defend faith-based values in a society that increasingly challenges them. There's an old hymn that says, stand up for Jesus, ye soldiers of the cross." We are called to be bold and courageous as soldiers of faith. We don't sit back. We don't follow the crowd. We stand up instead. So whatever your stage is, whether it's school, work, sports, social media, stand up for Jesus and be a bold witness of truth, no matter the cost. Charlie did it, so must we. And here's a verse to remember. When the great leader Moses died, God passed the leadership over to Joshua and gave him this command. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. God is with us as we move forward in faith. And to wrap this up, in a recent interview, Charlie Kirk stated, "I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith." And that's exactly what he's remembered for, his faith and courage. But what about you? What will you be remembered for? Like Charlie, do you know what you believe and why? Do you know what others believe and why? Do you know how to listen? Do you know how to stand up for your faith? Charlie did. Now it's your turn. And that's where we go from here. Your faith matters. Your voice matters. And God can use you to impact others for Him. The next story of faith and courage is you and me. Well, that's a wrap for today. Don't forget to visit BeThe25.com. Plenty of resources there to help you on your faith journey. You can also submit your faith-related questions there and win a Be The 25 t-shirt if your question is selected for an upcoming podcast episode. Stay tuned for more stories and discussions that encourage and equip. Have a great week, and remember, keep growing, keep going.